Alright, boys and girls, I'm back, and this time we're going to go over the Friday spiral math. This is the final spiral math of 5th grade and the final spiral math video that we're going to be checking spiral math. So yay, we're almost done. We're going to go ahead right now and go over number 1. On number 1 it says, choose the correctly shaded model and the correct decimal that matches the fraction. Pro tip, no, you don't have to draw the model. So there isn't any model you need to draw. But I do want you to make sure that you went ahead and did number 1 and answer and work. I'm going to check that together. I'm going to take a look at that fraction. It's right there. It's 11/20ths. And normally 11, I would, I can't just go and straight put that what am I going to do here? It's not 10, it's not 100, it's not 1,000. Oh, I know what I'll do. I can convert that 11/20 into a fraction that has 100 over as a denominator. And because it's got 100 as a denominator, then I can see how that relates as a decimal. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to just go ahead and just write 100 as the denominator. And in order for me to go from 20 to 100, I'm going to have to multiply. Don't add, don't subtract, don't divide, multiply. I'm going to find a number that multiplies by 20 to make 100. That's going to be 5. So I'm going to take 20 times 5 is equal to 100. Whatever I multiply on the bottom of my denominator, I'm going to multiply on the top with my numerator. So it becomes 11 times 5, which is equal to 55. Oh, that's 55 hundredths. That shows me, let's see, where would I be here? Let me just write here. So I already know what the decimal is going to be. The decimal that matches the fraction is, well, let's see, 55 over 100. So 55 over 100 is the same as saying 0 and 55 hundredths. And I see that right here, but I also see it right over here. Which one of these is correct? So I know that the fraction, or the decimal is 0 and 55 over 55 hundredths, but I need to check and see which one of these makes the most sense, which is accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a look at the first one, A. And I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, okay. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55 hundredths in there. Okay, that one makes sense. Let me make sure Mr. Yates didn't put together a typo and just put the same model in. 10, 20, 30, 40. Oh, this one only goes to 40 as tens, and then 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So shape our model A is the only one that is accurate. The other one is not. It looks close, but it isn't. So model A is the best. So I'm going to say the decimal that matches the fraction is 55 hundredths. And I could say is shown by, make sure you use the word model A or uppercase A, either one. So the decimal that matches the fraction is 0 and 55 hundredths and is shown, I'm going to get rid of that end period, and is shown by model A. As long as you have the words model A in there, boys and girls, that's the most important part. All right, let's go down to number 2. Number 2, we're going to be doing some more converting. Oh boy, Mr. H made a real big error on number, and I'm sure I've already gotten emails about this. It says 7, it's supposed to be 2, but I'm going to just go ahead and complete it anyway. I'll just make it down as, we'll call it fake 7. And we'll go ahead and put here 500 millimeters equals blank centimeters. Okay, on this one, boys and girls, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at my King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. I'm going to be working first with millimeters, which is down here at the end for M for milli, and C for centit is right next door. This time I'm going left, from left to right to convert. I'm going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit. And that's just one jump over. So I'm going to take my 500 millimeters. I'm going to put a decimal at the end of it, and I'm just going to move over one space. So now my 500 becomes 50 centimeters. And that's all you have to do for fake number 7. Now let's go ahead and move on down to, or up to number 2, the real number 2. The area of San Bernardino, California is the largest county in the United States, is about 3 to the 9th power square miles. Choose the correct way to write this as an expression. And then what is the area of San Bernardino County? What I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll write the correct way. To write 3 to the 9th power as an expression is, and I would write it as 3 times 3, that's twice, times 3, 3 times, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 3 times 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 3. Now the next part is to figure out the area of San Bernardino County using that expression. So I'm going to write this first. The area of San Bernardino, or San Bernardino, San Bernardino County is, and I'm going to leave it blank, and it's saying square miles. So what I'll do is I'll put here, I might have a big number, so I'm going to leave this area blank, and I'm going to put mi for miles and a little 2 exponent to show square miles, and a period at the end. All right, time to do some multiplying with 3's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right over to here, and I'm going to look at my expression. 3 times 3 is 9. So let me go ahead and just write 9 right here. And then another 3 times 3 is 9. And then 3 times 3 right here is also 9. Very proud if you calculated this out on paper, boys and girls, and you just jump to a calculator. And then another 3 times 3 is 9. And then times 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this out like this. 81. I'm going to multiply this out to get 81. And now I'm going to multiply 81 times 81. 81 times 81 is 81. Put a little 0 bomb. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 8 is 64. I get 6,561, but I'm not done yet. I still have this other 3 up here I need to multiply by. So I'm going to drop that down all the way down over to here, and I'm going to multiply 6,561 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 1 is 16. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 1 more is 19. So 6,561 is going to equal 19,683 square miles. And I'm going to put that into my answer sentence. The area of San Bernardino County is 19,683 square miles. All right, let's move on now down. I'm going to split the paper over here. And I'll put my answer and my work. And I know there were some problems with the numbering, and that's my fault. I just was not paying attention to the numbers this time. So we have an extra 4. It should actually be 3, but I'm going to move on. The nurse told Susanna that her mass was 37 kilograms. How many grams is 37 kilograms? So basically I'm going to be just doing this. 37 kg for kilograms is, or you can also put equals, blank grams, G. And I remember my little expression. King Henry died, you know it, boys and girls, unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. And now I'm going to use that to convert. I'm starting with K, kilograms, right over here at the very far end, the largest unit. G is grams, and that's a unit of measurement. There's no kilo or deci or centi or milli on it, so it's just plain old G for grams, the unit of measurement. I'm going to be moving to the right from kilograms to grams. So I'm going to make 1, 2, 3 jumps. So I'll go ahead and take 37. I'm going to add a decimal at the end. I'm going to add a few zeros to make it easy for me to jump. And I'm going to go ahead and make that jump to the right. 1, 2, 3. 37 now becomes 37,000 grams. All right, let's move on to number 4. This time Carla, and I know it's confusing, there's a 5 there. The 5 doesn't mean anything. Carla has $5.86. Her brother has 10 times as much money. How much money does Carla's brother have? All right, let's go ahead and write an answer sentence. Carla's brother has, and I'm going to put $sign in a blank. Now I'm ready to figure this out. I won't have to really actually multiply. I'm just going to use some mental math. $5.86 is how much Carla has, and her brother has 10 times as much money. So by multiplying by 10, I can use some mental math tricks. There is 1 0 in 10. When I multiply, I move decimals to the right. So I can move the decimal right when I multiply by 10, 1 jump to the right. So that $5.86 now becomes $58.06. And I do actually add a 0 here because that's the way we write money. We don't usually say $58.60 without the 0 because it looks like 6 cents, and it's not. It's 60 cents or 60 hundredths. So Carla's brother has $58.60. Make sure you have that 0 at the end and the $sign, boys and girls. All right, let's go on to number 5, the real number 5. Okay, on this one, Ebony ran a half mile on Saturday and 7/8 of a mile on Sunday. How far did she run over the weekend? So we'll go ahead and we'll put here, I'm not sure if it's going to be a fraction yet or whole miles, but I think it'll probably be more than 1 mile because 7/8 is almost already a mile, and 1/2 is a half a mile, so she's going to definitely run over 1 mile. So I'm going to put here, Emily, or not Emily, that's my daughter's name, Ebony. Ebony ran blank miles over the weekend. I'll put a period. Now what I'll be doing is I'll add up those. I'll add up the Saturday amount that she ran, and I'll be adding up with the Sunday amount that she ran, which is 7/8. Well, the first thing I notice is that I do not have the same denominator, and I can't add if I don't. I'm going to circle that I do add here so I don't forget and subtract by accident. I do notice, though, that 2 times 4 is going to equal 8, so I can turn both of these denominators into 8 so that I can add. I don't have to do anything with 7/8, it's already got a denominator of 8. But to turn 2 into 8, I have to multiply it. I have to multiply it by 4. And whatever I multiply on the bottom, I'm going to multiply on the top. 1 times 4 equals 4. Now I'm going to go ahead and add. 4 plus 7 is 11, and that's over 8. Now I have this awkward mixed or improper fraction, which is a lot better if I turn it into a mixed number. I do that by dividing 11 divided by 8 equals 1. I do have a remainder of 3, and I'll be using that for my fraction. So I'll put up here 1 is my whole number, and then my fraction numerator is going to be 3, and my denominator is 8, the number I divided with. So 11/8 equals 1 3/8. That means that Ebony ran this far on the weekend. 1 3/8 miles, which I'll put in my answer sentence. Ebony ran 1 3/8 miles over the weekend. Let's take a look at number 6. All right. This time we're going to be adding. We're going to write the sum in simplest form. So I'm just going to write my expression out, 3/8 plus 1/4. Now, boys and girls, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move down here and just write out my expression, 3/8 plus 1/4. Circle it, make sure that I'm adding, not subtracting, good. And again, I'm stuck, I don't have a denominator that's the same, but that's all right because I can change 4, well, into 8. 4 times 2 is equal to 8, whatever I do on the bottom. 1 times 2 equals 2. Now I have an equivalent fraction of 2/8. And I don't have to change 3/8 because it's already got a denominator of 8. When I add these together, 3 plus 2, I get 5. And then my denominators aren't added, they stay the same. It's 5/8. So over here, I go ahead and write 3/8 plus 1/4 equals 5/8. I can't simplify that because 5 is a prime number and I can't divide 8 by 5, so I'm stuck with just 5/8 without being simplified. All right, we're going to go on and take a look at number 7. All right, the question is name a polygon. Determine if it appears to be regular or not regular. How do you know? Well, let's go ahead and determine what the polygon is. I'll just say it is, or you can say the polygon is, it is, and let's see what it is. It is a, and the way to find out what a polygon is, or what type of polygon, is to count the number of sides. Here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5, I know that a 5-sided shape is a pent. Pent means 5. Pentagon. It is a pentagon. And I also want to know if it's regular or not regular. Regular just basically means that all the sides are the same size, and not regular means that the sides aren't the same size. Well, as I was counting them out, I noticed that all these sides are exactly the same. They're congruent. They're exactly the same. So I'll say it is regular. And it's also asking me, how do I know? And I'll say it is regular because, make sure I have that because in there, and I'll use the fancy word congruent, because all sides are congruent, all equal, all the same. Because all sides are congruent. All right, great. Now, boys and girls, it is time for the last question of Spiral Math for 5th grade. All right, boys and girls, the last question for Spiral Math for 5th grade is number 8 here for Friday, May 15th. And it is finding the composite volume of this shape. Composite means that there's more than one shape inside this shape. There's actually 2 rectangular prisms that you can put into this thing. And I want to show you how I would solve this. First of all, I want to look to make my answer sentence ready. Now my answer sentence is going to be using the volume of this, and you can say composite shape, or the volume of this composite shape is, and I'm going to put blank. My unit of measurement here is centimeters, and because it's volume, we're going to use cubic centimeters, little 3 exponent right there. So the volume of this composite shape is blank cubic centimeters. Now to find the composite volume of this shape, boys and girls, you're going to be figuring out a way to divide this into 2 separate shapes. That means how could you make this into 2 separate shapes that you could find the volume for? And there's a couple ways you could do this. One way you could do it, and this is kind of a tricky, this is a super challenge one. I wanted to go out with a super challenge for the very last problem in 5th grade. Here's what I did is I went ahead and I saw that I could make this composite shape into 2 different shapes. If I went back to here, I could draw and see that I actually have a box right here in this area. That's a shape, and then another box right here. That's a shape. And I want to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to call this box A, and we'll call this box cleverly B. So we have A and B shapes, two different boxes. We're going to be using the volume number, or the measurements that we have right here to help us find the volume. Now we know that the volume is always going to be length times width times height. We're going to figure out what the length, width, and height is of each one of these shapes. So first we'll start with shape A, and I'm going to use blue here to mark the units of measure, or the length, width, and volume, or length, width, and height for shape A. And the first thing I notice is that I see a side here that goes from top to bottom, and that's for shape A, and that's 16 centimeters. Right here, this shape is, this top to bottom is 16 centimeters. Okay, so for A, I'm going to know that the volume is going to equal, well, I know the height right now, so I'm going to put 16. I don't have my length and my width yet, but I can do some things to figure that out. Boys and girls, imagine that if I looked over at shape B, I see right over here for shape B, and I'll just clear this part out. For shape B, boys and girls, I see that there's a width of front to back. Oops, I'm going to just get those back so you can see. So for shape B, I can see right here, front to back, the width is 6 centimeters. Now I notice that on shape A, I also have a width of front to back that looks exactly the same. That means that this back, this width, and this width right here are the same. So if this line says 6 centimeters, right over here is also 6 centimeters. That means that the width, the front to back of shape A, is 6 centimeters. Okay, I got that now. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to look, I want to look at the length of shape A. Where can I find the length of shape A? This one is the trickiest part of all, boys and girls. On shape A, they don't really have the width. They do have, or the length. Now I do think that what I could do is I could do this. If I took straight across here in this red line, that's 24 centimeters. Now I notice that the line back here in the back is 16 centimeters. That means that right where this stops is the same place where it stops here, and it's the same place where it stops here. So from here to here are 16 centimeters. That means that from here to this part on this line is also 16 centimeters. That means what I could do is I could say that this part, this length of shape A, which is from this corner right here to where this stops, is my length. So if I have 16 centimeters from this end to this end, I know that if I add 8 more, I'd have a total of 24. So the length of this side right here from this corner where I'm pointing to this part has to be 8 centimeters, because 16 plus 8 equals 24. So the length of the shape A is 8 centimeters. That means that this part right here is 8 centimeters. All right, now I'm ready to go on and figure out the volume for shape B. The volume for shape B, boys and girls, is going to be this way. Let me just clear off some of these lines so it doesn't get confusing. just draw this back one more time because I want to make sure you can see where shape B is. Oops, let me kind of clear that up. All right, so shape B, boys and girls, is the volume inside the area I'm pointing to right here. Now we do have the width for shape B, actually, which is 6 centimeters. We do have the height for shape B, which is 5 centimeters. And we also have the width for shape B, which is right here. I mean the length. The length is 16 centimeters. That one's not nearly as tricky to figure out. So now I have all the measurements for shape B. And now I can multiply those out and figure out my volume. And that's what we're going to do right now. 8 times 6 is 48 for shape A, and then 16, so 48 multiplied by 16. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 4, 4 times 6 is 24, plus 4 is 288, drop down to 0. 8 times 1 is 8, and 4 times 1 is 4. 8, 16, 7. 768 cubic centimeters is the volume for shape A. So A's volume equals 768 cubic centimeters. Next thing I'm going to do is multiply to get the volume for shape B. I know that 6 times 5 is 30, and then I can multiply that by 16. It's okay to go backwards when you multiply, boys and girls. Commutative property. 0 times 6 is 0. 6 times 3 is 18. Drop down to 0. 30 times 1 is 30. Add it up. The volume of shape B is 480 cubic centimeters. And I'm sure you probably noticed I made a copy error. I should have put a 3 as my exponent for cubic centimeters. So over here, 480 cubic centimeters is the volume for volume B, for shape B. So now I add it up. 8 plus 0, 6 plus 8 is 14. 1 plus 7 is 8 plus 12. So the volume of both A and B together is 1,248 cubic centimeters. I'm going to put that right up here. The volume of this composite shape is 1,248 cubic centimeters. And boys and girls, you are now done with spiral math. Make sure that you fill out the survey so I know you finished it up. And congratulations and thank you for sticking with it. You will now have been practicing your math skills, which will keep you ready and sharp for 6th grade. Well done, boys and girls.